Okay, here we are in Onshape. We are going to draw up the Tealight holder, the basic unit. All the skills in this will be enough for you to design your own out of the material and tools we have. So that's the finished design. 3 pieces of timber, about 250 millimeters long by 30 mil wide, 19 mil thickness, laminated together with 3 holes drilled in top. The holes are 38 mil diameter. We start with our part, which is a 3D object. We assemble it together to make sure it all works, and then we put it finally into a working drawing that we can take into the workshop and we will put in our folio. So I'm not going to take very long. I don't want this to be a long video. So I made one up earlier. Now, the first thing I would like you to do when you log into Onshape is go to your account and make sure that you are using millimeters for your length. Please change it from the default, which is inches, back to millimeters. Now we're going to go back, start a new drawing, give it a name or new document, create new document, call it something like Tealight holder 2023, something like that. And I'm going to keep these on my document so we can refer back to them. First of all, the default you will get will have a part. So it'll have a file there called Part Studio 1, and it'll have one called Assembly 1. So you'll see these 2 tabs down the bottom. In Part Studio 1, I will draw up my shape. Start with a sketch. It's red means it needs more information. And it's asking for a plane. There are 3 planes on there already by default that let me start right away. I'm going to select the right plane. So I've got right plane there. If I wanted to change it, I'd just click on the little cross and pick another plane. But I want the right plane. That changes from red to black, means it's valid now. It's got a sketch on there. I'm going to change over here and look straight down at my sketch by clicking on right there, and then I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see I'm in the sketch, and I'm going to come up and draw the overall rectangle. I'm going to draw that big rectangle, all 3 of them in one go. So from this end here, and before you start on any design, you want to think about what the front of it is. So for me, I would consider that the front of my drawing. When I do that, best practice would be to draw in the orientation that I want my finished object to be. It doesn't matter, it's not life or death, but it's going to make my life a lot easier. So I'm going to change from rectangles, that's the shape I want, to a center point rectangle. The shortcut, if you look here, is the R key. I'm just going to select it, and I'm going to make that my center point, the origin. Click once, click again, and then I get a little box there. This is 111158. I don't need to click into it. I don't need to delete it. I just type what I want. Now, I told you it's going to be 19 mil thick timber, and there's going to be 3 pieces of it. I could use a calculator. I could do the calculations in my head. It's not a very hard calculation. Or I can go 3 times 19. And it'll do the math for me. Makes it a lot easier. The height is going to be 30 mil. And I'm happy with that. Now I want to do those lines here and here to make it 3 pieces. So I'm going to take a line there. I'm going to draw a line from here. I'll see those little icons that appear. One means it's vertical, and the other means it's connecting with the orange line. I'm not going to do it right in the middle because that will constrain it to the middle. See, the icon is middle. I don't want to do that. I'm going to Control Z, press L for line, and I'm going to do it from here to here. Make sure you see both those little icons, and not like this and not like that. See how the icons disappear when it comes like this? It's perfectly vertical and it's connecting. Let go. I can't change that number because that is 30. I'm going to press D for dimension, and I'm going to go from here to here is 19. I'm still on the dimension tool. I'm going to go from here to here is 19. That will automatically have to be 19 because I made the overall length 57. I'm happy with that. Tick. The sketch is done. It is a 2D, 3 rectangles all in the middle. I'm going to extrude it out. So extrude, and I'm going to do one at a time. First of all, I'm going to do that one. I know I want it to be about 250 mil long. And I have my part. I'm going to do one more button that I probably didn't do in class. I'm going to use symmetric. And if you can see what that has done. All it's doing now when I click on symmetric is it's extruding really from the middle out both ways. There's a reason why I'm going to do that, and I'll tell you in a second. I'm happy with that part. I'm going to tick, and I've got part 1 down here. That is it. Now, sketch gets hidden by default. So what I'm going to do is click around here on the sketch, on the eye, and show it again. So it was hidden, it wasn't deleted, just hidden. And I'm going to do the same thing 2 more times. So I'm going to do extrude, click that middle rectangle, click symmetric, make it to 50, and I'm going to make it, as you can see here, there's no second part there. I'm going to make it a new part, and look, I've got two parts. Tick. I'm going to do the same thing again. So the rectangle I haven't done yet, symmetric, 250, new part 3. I've got 3 parts now. Tick. So there we go. I'm going to look at it in isometric. I'm happy with that. I won't need to use that sketch again, so maybe I'll hide it. While I'm at it, these planes, I don't need to look at them either. I'm going to press P to hide them as well. Now, let's do another sketch. This time the sketch is going to go on the very top face of one of these pieces. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to do the middle one. I've got a sketch laid on top of it. I'm going to look straight down on it by pressing the N key, or I could click on top, or I could right click and go view normal to sketch plane. There we go. Now, if I press P and show the planes, you can see I've got a plane going right through the middle. Right through the middle. So that makes this a lot easier. I'm going to pick a circle. Come right to the dead center. The middle one is going to be dead center. I'm going to bring it out a bit, click once, and type in the diameter, which is 38. While I'm there, I'm going to come over here, do another one on this line. See the little icon means line, right on the edge of the plane, 38. And over here, same, 38. That's the size of the drill bit, that's the size of the candle. I will need to dimension a few little things. That one there is locked in place. These two, if I click them and drag them, they can't move anywhere off that line, because the first time I started my circle, I started on the edge of that plane. They're locked into that position. I'd have to delete that constraint if I wanted them anywhere else. Okay, I want them even. Now, I'm not going to do a lot of fancy mathematics. I'm going to take that dimension, drag it down the bottom here, drag this one down there, and that one down there. I do notice a lot of students have it all bundled up together like that, and you want to be able to read it. You want to be able to make changes if you need to. So it needs to be clear. Now, I could dimension from the end to here, but I think I'll use the center as my little reference point. I'm going to make that 75. Seems like a good size. That looks like gives me pretty good distance, but I could change it if I wanted to 72, whatever. Maybe my design I want to go a bit further to the end. So I can change that, whatever I want. I'm going to keep it at 70 though. And now while I'm still on dimension, I'm going to do the other side. From there to there, bring it up out of the way, 70 millimeters. Maybe I'll put that right in the middle. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. No, what? On second thoughts, I'm going to give it another 5 mil away. I would assume for this design it would want to be symmetrical. And I'm going to go tick. Now I'm going to go and remove that material. I'm going to glue it together, mark out where it goes, and then I'm going to drill it. So extrude. This time it's going to be remove, and I'm going to pick all these parts of the circle. There's really 3 parts to each circle now because there's 3 parts in the job. So like that. I might show you from the side here. So I'll go to the front. I'll change my view on this little icon here to translucent. You can see it comes down 25 mil. So there's 5 mil space there. I could bring it down even further, all the way through if I wanted. I'm on remove. There is one thing I will have to do. Click on merge with all, because at the moment the only part it's cutting into is part 3. I'm going to go merge with all. Now I'm going to go back and look at the front. My candle is about 16 mil high, and I want it to be above the top face. I don't want it to sit flush or be under that face. So I will take mine down about 12 mil. I'll set my drill press depth to go down 12 mil, no more, and it'll stop. Every time I drill these, they'll be the same height. And that means my candle will stick above that surface about 3 mil, 3 or 4 mil, and look pretty good and be easy to remove. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to cut down there 12 mil. And I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to change my view so you can see it. Back to shaded. And go tick. I've got 3 holes. Might hide the planes again so you can see. There we go. That's my basic design. I have 3 parts here. Now, this is just the object, the modeled object, the model, the mesh. What I want to do is come into the assembly. It's not going to be very hard. And I'm going to go insert, part studio 1. You won't see that design one. That's the one I did down here. And I'm going to take part 1, part 2, part 3. Now they look like they're together perfectly. But if I was to grab one, they're not glued. The purpose of this, now we would drill it when it was glued together, but for this, we want to glue it together now. Okay, I'm going to use this little fasten mate tool up here. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is pick one of them. It doesn't really matter which one, and I'm going to right click on it and go fix. Now, that one won't move. It's locked in space, okay? Very useful when putting something together. Going to go back and click fasten mate. It's red, it needs more information. It wants mate connectors. Now the way this works is when I hover over here, I get a lot of points of reference that I can connect to the other side. That face there will be obviously that face there, identical. So I could pick heaps of different ones, and if I line them up exactly with their opposing position, it'll glue together. Sometimes this tool can be hard. It flicks between faces. If I find I want that face, if I want to lock it to that face, I hold down the shift key and then I can move together. I could go from the middle. That'd be pretty useful, the middle, but I think it'll make more sense to you if I take this corner up here. So that corner there is going to glue to that corner down here. Click once, it's added that part. Come down here, get to that face, hold down shift so it doesn't change on me, and click that one. And I've got those 2 points glued together. If yours kind of looks maybe like that or like that, you can play around with these 2 buttons here. Maybe your orientation's off a little bit. But if you did it the way I showed you, it should work well. Tick. Now, it's still on mate, fasten connections, which is useful because I've got to do this one over here. I'm going to do exactly the same. So hold down Shift, click, hold down Shift, click, tick, close. I have my assembled object. So component here, and then you assemble it. Now, you won't have a drawing, but we need to put in a drawing. So I'm going to click on plus, create a drawing. And I would like you to go across to custom template, ISO, make sure it's on A4 and not portrait, A4, and make sure it's 3rd angle projection. We'll leave the rest. And we'll go okay. So there's a blank sheet with a border around it and a title block. They'll be very useful. I'll come here to my assembly, and it's assembly 1. Now if I look at this on my drawing, it's a bit small. It kind of tries to pick an automatic scale for you. Don't forget it. You haven't drawn in scale, or you've drawn 1:1 scale, but to get it on an A4 bit of paper, it has to scale it down. What I would probably do here is change it from 1:4 to 1:3, because I drew it in the right sort of orientation. I'll start with the front. So we're doing an orthographic drawing. So we've got a front view here. Now as I move up, I'll get the top view. It'll stay in line because it's projection. I've still got that there. So I'll click on this again and I'll bring it across to the right, and I'll get my side view. Now I might put isometric up here, like that, because that's the way a good drawing should be set out. And now let's start to dimension it. Could shift this around, maybe a bit more balanced. Okay, so I've got a bit of gap there. Let's go through and do a few things. The first thing I'm going to do is label each of them. Right click, view properties, view label. Right click, view properties, view label. Now obviously these are what they are, but for you guys learning, I think it's useful to have the label there so you can remember the order they go in. Front, top, right, that gives you your 3rd angle projection, and over here in the top right hand corner you have an isometric, which we might label. View properties, and we'll also put the scale. I do not dimension an isometric, not very good practice. Sometimes I'll do it for you to kind of show you what things are, but generally an isometric, because of what it is just shown with the scale, and you measure from that and then work it out yourself. So that's one to directly measure from. We've talked about that in class. A few things I need to show. The front view, it should be kind of, imagine it as a bit of glass and you want to see through it, which means you would see the bottoms of these holes, which you don't. I'm going to right click on it, go show hidden lines. Right click, show hidden lines. Now hidden lines are dashed lines like that. That indicates a hidden line. Now we need to add some dimensions, okay? Clear dimensions that we can use to make it in the workshop or have someone else make it for us. Dimension tool over here, or press D on the keyboard, and I'm going to go click, click, and right in the middle, 250. I'm going to go click, click, and I'll go 57. I'm going to go click, click, and see how it lines up with that there. So I want my dimensions to line up. I want one to go one way, one to go the other. And I don't want to change that. So over here, I might even... Now, you would assume they're the same distance, but we can't guarantee that. So what I might do is over here, I'll bring it up like that, 19 mil. Now we have to put in a few more things. We're going to change a dimension tool to a diameter dimension tool. And I'm going to pick this one over here and bring it down to maybe a little bit like, maybe there. Okay, so that's the diameter symbol, 38 mil diameter. If I don't diameter or give these a reference, if I don't give them a dimension, you will make the assumption they are the same. I would only need to dimension them if they were different. Then I'm going to do a couple of other little things. Over here, we have a 2-point center line. I'll show you how that works. Now you need to show, if I didn't have that top view, if I just had that side view, I wouldn't know whether that was a square hole or round hole. To show it's round, I'm going to use a center line. So I'm going to click on there. Let's do it again. There, there, and I've got a center line. There, there. Now a center line is a long line and a little dash, long line, small dash, long line, small dash. I'll need to put that on here too. Shows me that's round. And let's do these up here. Now these ones will need to go one there, one there, one there, one there. They're also giving me the intersection where I'll have to line up to drill. I'll need to also do a dimension from, I'll go from here to here. I might put those on down here. D for dimension, there to there. And then just in case, I'll do a dimension from now, if I did that dimension there, I can see where that could cause a problem. I want this drawing to be really clear. I'm going to go from here to here. Line it up. And I think I've pretty much got everything I need in my dimensions to make that job right now. Except for one thing. I haven't got the depth. I'm going to click, click, click. 12 mil. There we go. That should be everything I need. Now down on my title block, I need to put a few details in. I have the scale 1 to 3, that's good. I have my name, I have the date I did it, and let's give it a title. Double click on there. I'm going to use all uppercase for this, so once again there's no mistakes, and I'm going to call it Tealight Holder 2023. I'll come down to the next line. Double click click on that, and I'll say year 7, semester 2. Hit enter. And in there, I'll write and down here I'll call it drawing number 001. It's pretty good. Not worried about revisions, materials. And I'll put no finish. Finish would be an oil or a lacquer. Because we're going to have candles in it, we don't want it to catch fire. So we're not going to put any oil on that. No finish. That should give us all the same. Okay. There we go. I've got my part. Got my assembly, got my drawing, fully dimensioned. I can't see any missing dimensions. I've got my isometric in there. I've got it laid out in third angle projection. I've got it named. I've got my name on there, ready to be printed and taken into the workshop. Okay, I'm going to make some videos on how to do some other designs I've seen around. So follow that. If you have missed anything in class, rewind it, pause it, whatever you need to do.